what a great night for basketball in Plymouth. First place on the line in the Northwest Suburban Conference as Champlin Park takes on Robbinsdale Armstrong. Hello and welcome to Armstrong High School. John Jacobson and Ryan Iverson. And Ryan, Champlin Park and Armstrong both having terrific seasons in boys basketball, each ranked in the top 10. Champlin Park right now at number 3.
Well, a lot of striking similarities between both of these teams, John. You got Champlin, the highest scoring team offensively in the metro area at 85 points per game. You got Armstrong, kind of surprising this year. I mean, they had some talent, but to be 10-1 in conference, averaging over 78 points a game, both teams have a lot of depth. Both teams like to push the pace. Both teams can shoot really well. So really a lot of talent on the floor tonight. Should be a great game. Armstrong's
only conference loss came at Champlin Park very early in the season. 23-point margin. I don't think either coach expects that tonight. Greg Miller thinks his team is better, and Mark Tucksher certainly respects the talent that Armstrong brings.
Well, and you mentioned the 23-point game December 5th, so early on in the year. And if we talked to Coach Greg Miller, he said they kind of identified a zone defense, and he said that slowed them down a lot in that game. They've perfected that. Of course, Melvin Newbern playing the top of that zone very long, disrupts a lot of passes. So two completely different teams. I expect a different outcome. And John, Armstrong has not lost on their home floor yet, so I think there'll be some pride at stake as well.
Let's look at our key players, starting with Champlin Park. Ian Smith, he's a senior co-captain, really one of the leaders for this team, and a terrific ball player.
Yeah, and he does it all. He's going to Northern State next year in Aberdeen, South Dakota. So he's going to play collegiately, 12.5 points, over 5 assists. He's kind of the engine that makes his team run, floor leader, if you will. Can do a little bit of everything, but very talented player.
And for Armstrong, one of their juniors, Evan Nolan.
I love his game, inside and out. He's got range. I saw him hit a couple of shots, from 5-6 feet beyond the three-point line. Really smooth, and he's, again, one of many players that's capable of putting up big scoring numbers for Armstrong.
Champlin Park 11-0 in the conference. Armstrong 10-1. Osseo right behind these guys. They're at 10-2 and waiting for their shot at Champlin Park and Armstrong second time around in the conference. We'll take a break and come back and tip this one off. Armstrong and Champlin Park boys basketball next on Channel 12.
Think you found every hazard out here today? Think again. The spot you missed could be a killer. That spot on your skin could be skin cancer. If you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the kind that kills one person every hour. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. It's easy. Follow through and check your skin. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Big crowd on hand tonight at Armstrong. It's Champlin Park, first place in the Northwest Suburban Conference, takes on second place Armstrong. The lineups introduced on the floors. Look at our starting 5 for tonight for each team. For Champlin Park, 4 excellent perimeter players: Marty Hill, Jeremy Johnson, JT Gibson, Ian Smith, and Brennan Witt is their post player. For Armstrong, Trey Tate, Jerome Dixon, the guards. Their forwards, Evan Nolan, Sean Burns, and Ryan Casperson. And Ryan Iverson, Armstrong with a little size advantage. Sean Burns and Ryan Casperson. Brennan Witt, rather, for Champlin Park. Their biggest player on the court in their starting lineup, and he can really get up. Not terribly tall, but a great rebounder.
Yeah, I think, John, if you look at this, Champlin's going to really try to push the tempo, get in that transition game where they score 85 points a game. I think for Armstrong to get settled here and established, if they can work inside out, maybe get some inside buckets down low with Casperson or Burns, and they have great shooting to complement that. We talked to Coach Miller, who had said they were shooting about 50% the last 4 or 5 games from 3. So inside out maybe a little for Armstrong. Champlin wants to really use their athleticism and their quickness.
Craig Miller told us this week, we like to run, but the better tempo for us against Champlin Park would be more of a mid-tempo game. Not slowing it all the way down, but not playing at the pace maybe that the Rebels are accustomed to and like to play at.
Well, and you find yourself in that zone where you don't want to be too cautionary that you hurt yourself. If there's chances, opportunities, you want to take them. But, people try to play at this pace that Champlin's used to, and they can find themselves down 20 in a hurry.
Opening possession for Champlin Park. Ian Smith out top, the point guard. Gives it off. JT Gibson, a three-pointer. He had a good night shooting Tuesday of this week against Maple Grove and gets the opening three of this game.
And it's always fun when you're on the road, you get that first three to go down too. Everything feels good. You feel a little bit more confident. Your whole team feels confident.
Tate out to Nolan, who answers.
Well, and I like what Armstrong did there, John. They went inside out. They swung the ball. They got the open three, and Nolan's been hot all year long, and that's a shot he's very, very good at.
Witt lays it in off the assist from Marty Hill.
And you can see the pace already to this game. We're not even a minute in, 8 points already on the board.
Burns kick out corner three from Dixon, short, rebounded by Witt. Smith comes to the side of the lane, lost the ball, finds Witt out top. Back for Smith. Corner shot, Jeremy Johnson is long, and a rebound by Casperson. Lead pass ahead to Burns.
Nice. There's an opportunity right there. Their run, there's an over the line too on Champlin Park, a rare turnover, but that's where size, John, that you were talking about for Armstrong. Casperson got that great rebound, has a presence of mind, a little Kevin Love-like, throwing it out, and you got the athleticism of Sean Burns, who's got size and runs the floor. So that's Armstrong basketball, and they're going to be able to do that here tonight.
Trey Tate on the three, won't go. Hill rebounds, knocked away by Casperson, out of bounds. Look at Mark Tucksher, now 8th year head coach at Champlin Park. State tournament team back in 2010, 16-1 this season, and an 11-0 in the conference. As Brian mentioned, just the one loss came back in the second game of the season, 106-103 to Hopkins.
How about this, John? They've only had 3 games this year be decided by less than 10 points. And Osseo, Maple Grove, and that loss to Hopkins. So a beautiful looking move right there by Brennan Witt, who's their leading scorer. You can see his smoothness to his game. But this Champlin team is winning, and they generally win big, too.
Witt gets the block on Burns. Here's Johnson for Champlin Park. Open three for Smith. Rebound by Casperson. And Tate will bring it to the front court. Dixon in for Casperson on the block over Witt and scores.
We talked about the size right there. If I'm Armstrong, I'm using Casperson and Burns down low. Let them use their height, crash the offensive board, see if you can get some buckets like that. And that's a great start so far for Armstrong.
Well, a runner by Johnson up and in. Both of these teams have guys that can score. Armstrong, 5 guys between 9.9 and 16 in the game scoring average, and for Champlin Park, all 5 of their starters have averaged in double figures. Casperson answers for Armstrong.
And that's the part about his game that I think is really taken another level this year, is he's been able to consistently hit that shot from 15, even step out to three-point land. And if he's scoring 15 to 20 points, grabbing 10 rebounds, they are an unbelievably different team.
Tip up and good by Gibson, who came in. (11-9) Rebels. Back in fourth start. We've only played 3 minutes.
Well, 3 minutes and 4 people on both teams have scored already. We talked about balance, and there's a beautiful looking move. Sean Burns, we saw them on Channel 12 here play Park Center earlier in the year and get a win, and Sean Burns was huge in that game. And I don't know if his athleticism can be matched on this court, and that's a great sign for Armstrong, for him being aggressive early.
Johnson off the mark shooting early, and we get an over-the-back foul whistled against Hills. You get Greg Miller, now in his 13th year as head coach at Armstrong. State 4A runners-up back in 2007.
Well, and I think if you ask Coach Miller, at the start of the year, would you guys take 14-2 and 10-1 in conference? I think they believe they had talent, but I think even he'd be a little surprised at that mark. So they really have played well and got some big wins, beat Maple Grove, beat Osseo, really played a heck of a year.
Witt grabbed the miss. He'll drive to the basket and score.
Look at that first step, too, for Brennan Witt. He's 6'5", but 1-2 quick dribbles, and watch his athleticism here. He's got big hands. He can throw it down with ease. He's their height. He's their center, but he really plays more like a 2-3 guard. And he's that athletic difference on their team. He guards, he gets in the passing lanes. He can put about 8 or 10 points up in a hurry.
Burns turns and scores. Sean Burns with 6. It's Armstrong back to within 2. Johnson fakes off to Gibson. Back to Johnson. And this one is in.
Well, what stands out too is Champlin is their spacing, John. They got 5 guys all around the perimeter. There's driving lanes. They're all unselfish. They'll kick it to a teammate that may have a better shot. Rarely will you see them force a bad shot. And their spacing is so great.
Nolan skip pass across to Dixon. Out top to Tate. 18-footer is good. First bucket tonight for Trey Tate.
Well, you got to hand it. Both teams coming out shooting the ball really well here tonight. No hesitation, lots of confidence, and they're knocking shots down.
Ian Smith drives and scores. Tremendous scoring pace in the first 5.5 minutes of play.
For those of you that didn't believe us, that we said Champlin's the highest scoring team in the Metro, you can see why. They can do it, really 5 different guys in a variety of different ways. And that's probably their most potent way right there, is they take defensive rebounds and convert and turnovers and convert it into points. Reminds me almost of Hopkins girls team, the way Hopkins girls basketball plays.
7-point lead now for the Rebels.
And this is where if you're Armstrong, you got to be careful. You don't want to get in this trap of playing too fast. And that was a beautiful move. And again, you can see Burns has been really effective. He's got 8 early points here.
Smith back out. Gibson 3. That one's short. Tipped around and chased down by Ian Smith. Finds Witt. Witt not afraid to go to the basket, but this time he's fouled. And it's on Casperson. Falcons thought they had a clean block there.
Crowd does not like that. That looked pretty clean from up here too, John, but how quickly does Witt, look like he's about to just pass the ball on the perimeter, takes one quick dribble and he's all the way to the rim. He's got great length, and you can see those big hands he's got too.
First foul shot off the mark. Melvin Newbern and Rojan Whitley in for Armstrong, and for Champlin Park, McKinley Wright, 5'11" freshman, into the lineup, along with Alec Lebo. Second foul shot also missed by Witt. Struggled early from the line the other night against Maple Grove. Came on to finish with 22 points. Armstrong, Burns again. He'll put one down. Sean Burns with 10 points.
Yeah, and Marty Hill was guarding him. He went for the steal, tried to deflect that entrance pass there, and he missed, and there was no one there for help.
Witt can't finish this time, and it's rebounded by Whitley. Here's Dixon taking his man off the dribble and scoring.
Well, Jerome, he's their leading scorer, over 16 a game, and this is going to set up a little three-quarter court pressure defense here. See if they can get a trap, maybe create some turnovers. I like Greg Miller for Armstrong, what he's doing here, kind of getting the pace going in his favor.
Witt. There's Lebo open in the corner. You got some good shooters off the bench, Alec Lebo and Alex Hilly. It's Lebo that hits this one. Timeout for Champlin Park before Armstrong can inbound with 10:26 to go here in the first half.
Yeah, and you take a look at this. I mean, just beautiful spacing here against the zone. Extra pass by McKinley Wright, and he finds Lebo. Lebo spots up, and that's what he does. He comes in this game you know, he's a senior and he's a sharpshooter. He's knocking threes down, and that's being a good coach. Mark Tucksher, who I grew up, John, playing AAU basketball with, you know, what he's done really well with this team is everyone knows their role. Everyone has their identity. And even a kid like Lebo comes in, he gets to a spot where he knows he's going to be effective, and they practice this in repetition over and over, and that's when teams become great, when everyone knows their role, they're comfortable with it, and they execute it really flawlessly.
Watch the prices from the Timberwolves. Remember that halftime shooting contest. They'll choose 4 people from the crowd in just a few moments.
Alex Hilly, number 22, now in for Champlin Park. Dixon will bring it up court for Armstrong. Nolan, drive, blocked by Hilly. And a late whistle, and they're going to call Hilly for a foul.
Well, and I like Evan Nolan right there, you know, another dimension to his game, going to the basket. I always tell young kids when I'm working them out or talking to them about playing is attack the basket, John. Put pressure on him. Make the referee make a call. More often than not, they're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. He's such a good shooter, a good free throw shooter. It's pretty much automatic points when he gets to the free throw line.
Gibson and Johnson back in for Champlin Park. Nolan hits them both. Jubialabe in for Armstrong now. He'll replace Nolan.
Well, and here Armstrong's in that 1-2-2 that we talked to Coach Miller about before the game. He said this really had given Champlin some problems. And the first time they met, they put Melvin Newbern at the top of that. You can see how long he is, gets his hands, a lot of deflections. And here we go. What it does is it forces the other team maybe to play a little faster than they want. And so far, so good. They've played 2 possessions of it. They've gotten a turnover out of it.
Falcons with a chance to tie or take the lead on this possession. Newbern to Alade on the wing. And back out to Dixon. Patient possession for the Falcons. Now Dixon pulls up with a shot. Short, ball tipped out to Jeremy Johnson.
Well, Dixon's their leading scorer, but his biggest thing has been his shot selection. There's a beautiful move by Jeremy Johnson, who's got no problems with his shot selection on that one. But Jerome Dixon's got such great ball skills. He's so quick, John. He's actually really athletic as well. He settles for tough shots when I think he could create great shots every time.
Casperson turns and scores. Back to a 2-point game.
And Casperson and Burns have really been unstoppable down low. They got 16 points between the two of them.
Lebo misses badly this time, but Gibson, the offensive board in the paint, and he scores. That's his second putback basket. And the margin 4.
When you get the feeling, too, when you're playing against Champlin, John, your margin of error is so slim because they create so many possessions. They almost remind you of like the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFL. They're going to have more possessions than anybody because they get up and down and they're unselfish. They crash the boards. They're pushing the ball. So you really feel like you got to capitalize almost any time you get an offensive possession.
Follows on Alec Lebo, his first third-team foul. And Alade goes to the line to shoot 2.
You got a Lottie net on that one in his first throw.
You couldn't help yourself, could you?
No, I couldn't. I was waiting for that one.
Averaging about 5.5 points per game. 1 out of 2. And Hilly rebounds.
Again, you'll see Armstrong in that 1-2-2.
And it goes to Hilly, back out. 3-pointer from right is good.
Not bad when you got a freshman coming off the bench and steps in a big game on the road and he's knocking threes down. So you can just see the depth and the balance for this Rebels team. There's a reason that they're ranked 3rd in the state.
Burns' shot won't go. Tip. Burns got it back. Short again, and the rebound for Champlin Park. They got a 3-on-1 break the other way. Right to Lebo.
Nice.
Basket and a foul.
Did you see there, John, how quick they turned that miss into a fast break? I mean, all 10 guys were in the paint, and that's a drill they do every day in practice. They get it and go. And how about McKinley Wright, the freshman, just pushing the pace right there. And an excellent job by Lebo running the floor. Takes the contact finishers, but that's what they do. They turn a miss on one end, a defensive rebound, into points on the other, and faster than anyone in the state.
Armstrong uses its first timeout. Comes with 7:38 to play in the half, and Champlin Park with a lead of 8. Each team, as I mentioned in the pregame, with a game against Osseo remaining. The Orioles 10-2 coming into play tonight and hosting Andover. And for Armstrong, that game against Osseo comes up next Thursday, and for Champlin Park, it'll be on February 5th.
You know, if you're thinking of strategy, you're playing against Champlin, you almost you think about, do you play out a character? Do you try to slow the ball down, hold the ball, play 10, 15 passes before you get a shot just to slow the whole game down? Do you adapt to their style and say, you know what, for tonight we are going to get up and down? And they really put you in a hard predicament as far as how to combat that, how to prepare for that. They're in such good shape. The wind sprints they do in practice. So these guys in, and they know it's a race. We're going to go, and most teams aren't prepared for it.
Biggest lead of the night, 9 points now for Champlin Park. They double on the ball and get another steal, and Johnson throws it down.
Well, case in point, a lot of times great defense turns into great offense.
Alade's three comes out. Burns had a hand on it, couldn't secure it. Smith back the other way for Gibson. My goodness, they are out and racing, Ryan.
Well, 45 seconds, he got 8 points just like that. And you sense in Armstrong now feeling that they got to start scoring. They start playing a little bit faster, not taking as good of shots. And it kind of gets sloppy, and that's how games against Champlin go. You're in it for a minute. And look at this last play right here. I mean, great pass, kick right there, but watch how quickly Champlin turns this into a fast break the other end. I mean, just like that, 2 quick dribbles, they just beat everyone down the floor, and that's really their strength.
Champlin Park foul on Jeremy Johnson, his first. Lade to the line and hits the free throws.
And the other thing that's tough too, John, is when you do have 5 guys like for Champlin that, score in double figures, you don't know who to key on, who to focus on. And that sometimes it's nice to have that one go-to guy, but for Champlin's case, they really got 5 guys that all do the same. They're all capable of knocking down threes. They're all athletic, strong, quick, can get to the basket. They're unselfish.
Marty Hill.
Case in point right there.
Hadn't scored tonight. He's averaging
right at
about 10 a game. Yeah, it's first 3 tonight. Here's Dixon to the corner. Nolan.
Nice.
Evan Nolan hit that 3 to start the game, and his first basket since then. He has 8 points in all.
And normally, John, when you got 31 points with 6 minutes left in the first half, you're right where you want to be, or you would expect to be in the lead. But against this Champlin team, that's not going to do it.
Johnson missing. Casperson rebounds. Falcons back quickly. Dixon through the hands of Burns. He would have had perhaps an easy 2.
Yeah, he got excited. He knew he had a big slam coming his way, and that's the old case of you don't watch it in your hands, lost it. But, those kind of plays, missed opportunities, loose balls, hustle points, things like that, you got to maximize every one of them to beat this Champlin team.
Gibson to Smith. 3-pointer off the rim. Out of bounds. Armstrong basketball with 5:28 to go in the half. Champlin Park's biggest lead was 14 points.
And even though that was a miss, John, you still see, I mean, they're getting every shot that they want. You know, it's not like Armstrong's forcing them into turnovers or taking bad shots. They're getting every shot that they want. It's just a matter of them knocking it down.
Dixon missed. Rebound pulled out by Gibson. Slices a pass ahead for Hill, who scores, and he's fouled.
What a finish, but how about JT Gibson? Look at that, gets the defensive rebound. Armstrong kind of jogging down the floor. Great throw ahead right there, and Jeremy Johnson just beats everyone down the floor. They're taught, we get a rebound, let's just sprint, put our heads down, sprint, and they'll find us, and we'll finish. And they do it every day in practice, John, every single day. They spend over half their time in practice doing transition drills.
45-31. Still 5 minutes to play in the half. Nolan off for Burns.
Beautiful pass by Nolan. Burns has been really effective. He's got 12. All of them coming down by in the interior there, and they've done a nice job, Masterson and him, using their size, their athleticism. They just got to get stops on the other end.
Smith to Hill, open three, short, rebounded by Smith. To Witt on the baseline and back out. Swing it left side to Hill. Short in the corner, rebound by Gibson. Smith to Gibson. Give him enough chances, they'll knock one down.
I mean, that's just beautiful basketball. Beautiful passing, driving, kicking, unselfish. Offensive rebounds, just hustle points.
Casperson spins inside Burns to score.
He's got great footwork for a big fella down there. Went to his left, spun across his left shoulder coming back and put it up. And really that was the advantage I thought that they needed to exploit, and they've done a pretty nice job of that here tonight.
Beat Witt inside, and then at the other end, another chance, the second chance points again. This time it's Johnson scoring.
How about Brendan Witt there, John, with that hustle play as he's falling down, has the court sense to pass it over to his teammate.
Whistle and a foul before the shot. Well, now they're going to discuss who it's on. Oh, that's a continuation NBA whistle. That whistle was clearly before the shot went up. Mark Tucksher can't believe it.
I think the refs say, hey, the pace in which you guys score at, Coach, we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt here. But yeah, that was lucky. But again, I mean, Casperson and Burns down low, I mean, every time they've been able to go down that way, John, they've gotten buckets out of them. They've combined for 22 of their 37 points with a chance here for a three-point play. And they convert.
Casperson does convert, yeah.
Yeah, let's take a look. It certainly seemed like quite. Well, we couldn't hear when the whistle was. It almost looked like it was a reach-in, then a dribble, and then the shot.
Right.
But either way, it is what it is, a three-point play, and give Casperson the credit there for finishing. You always are taught play through the whistle, and that time he gets rewarded for doing that.
Armstrong hoping to keep it to no more than this margin if they can. They can get to halftime, the 10-12 point game, ideally under 10, but we'll see as Gibson, this one's off the mark, ball tipped in the air. Dixon ties up Hill. Possession arrow will give the ball back to Armstrong.
And if there's one critique of this Champlin team, it's their consistency in knocking down that outside shot. Now, we've seen them hit a number of them tonight, but a lot of them have been 3-4 opportunities on one offensive possession. And I would say that's their biggest weakness, is their consistency in knocking that down. And good D right there, and good hustle by Armstrong.
Offensive foul whistle on Dixon on the drive.
JT Gibson, you just love that. As a teammate, you see a teammate of yours stand in there and take a charge. So nothing gets you fired up and excited more than a guy standing in for your team taking a charge. Big play.
Drive by Smith to Witt, who finishes.
What a pass. Ian Smith just breaks down to the heart of the defense, gets down into the interior, and of course the very athletic Brennan Witt there to finish.
Lebo trying for the steal, crashed into the scorer's table, gets back into play now. Baseline drive, ball deflects back out to Burns. Burns, tough runner in the lane, won't go. Good offensive board, and the putback by Newbern. He's fouled. Fouls on Witt.
They might be down 14, John, but you got to be, I bet Coach Miller's pretty happy with the effort that they're playing at. I mean, it seems like their guys are, you know, they're not getting beat to loose balls. You see tenacity going after offensive glass right there, and you love to see that as a coach, no matter if you're down, you know, 13 or if you're up 13, but the effort and intensity that they're playing at has been great tonight.
Melvin Newbern, first 2 points for him.
Of course, all you out there, if that name does sound familiar, it is. It's former Gopher great Melvin Newbern, his son.
12-point game with under 2 minutes to play first half. Witt, nice feed underneath the hill.
There's a great baseline screen there that Marty Hill came off of, and I didn't think Witt saw him cutting under there. He was looking up, but he set up a nice no-look pass, great cut, great screen, great execution on the baseline by Champlin on that play.
Burns to the basket. Too strong. Second chance points up and in for Burns.
He's got 14 here. He's really carried this offense. Anytime they've gotten the ball to him or to Casperson, good things have happened. So they got to continue to do that here in the second half, going into the second half. You know, how big is John is this last minute? They're down by 12. They could somehow get a stop or two, maybe cut it to 8 or 6, get some of that momentum going into it. That'd be huge.
Foul's going to be on Burns. First on Burns, fifth on Armstrong, so still not a shooting foul for Champlin Park. They'll inbound with 59 seconds to go.
Yeah, it's been a pretty clean game. Neither team in the bonus yet. Pretty well, crisp played game.
Whitley defending Smith. Goes around the screen, lost the dribble, and back comes Nolan the other way for Armstrong. Behind their back pass, and Newbern with the bucket.
That's the kind of play that gets you excited. Your gym's excited. Beautiful behind the back from Nolan.
Witt driving, and we get a foul on Burns. Burns with 2 quick fouls.
This was a great effort. Look at Nolan right here. Great vision. He knows he's got Newbern running with him. Sets him up beautifully. Newbern, who's a right-handed player, finishing with the left hand too. Only a sophomore. You can see the length and the size that he's going to have. You know, Nolan only a junior. So this Armstrong team, as great as they played this year, really are going to have quite a bit of talent coming back for next year's team as well for Coach Greg Miller.
Burns will come out with the second foul. Alade back in. And Witt to inbound for the Rebels. Liebel, three-point shot is good.
He's 3 for 3 with 9 points. That's his second three-pointer. The other one was a three-point play he had. So he's been 3 touches, 9 points. Not bad efficiency right there, JJ.
13-point margin. Final 10 seconds of the first half.
You don't want to wait too long here. You want to get a good shot.
Whitley back out. Dixon, 3, in and out. Ball comes to Newbern, too late. And we go to halftime. Champlin Park puts 57 points on the board in the first half. We go to the break. Our score, Champlin Park 57, Armstrong 44. We'll take time out and come back with our halftime and more. You're watching high school boys basketball on 12 Sports.
Just a reminder, kids who participate in high school activities tend to go a little farther than those who don't. Take part. Get set for life. National studies show that students who participate in activities like music, sports, and drama not only have better grades and attendance, but they develop the character to handle adversity, the grace to accept defeat, and the self-confidence to start over. Take part. Get set for life.
High-scoring first half, 57-41-44. Champlin Park leading Armstrong. As we look at highlights from the first half, Champlin Park able to score inside and out. JT Gibson knocking down an early three for the Rebels. Ryan Casperson, the 15-footer. He had a good first half on the offensive end of the court. Brennan Witt got free for a dunk for two. Jerome Burns very effective around the basket tonight. He's been the Falcons' leading scorer. Alec Lebo off the bench, knocking down a couple of three-pointers, including that one as Champlin Park led the whole way. Kinley Wright off the bench, knocking down another triple. A steal for Champlin Park will lead to this next hoop. Jeremy Johnson finishing at the basket for two. And Armstrong defensively coming up with a steal. Ends in Melvin Newburn basket. Nice assist to Evan Nolan. As we go to the numbers, top scorers, Gibson and Witt a dozen apiece. Johnson with 11 for Champlin Park. Burns 14, Casperson 11, and Nolan 8 for Armstrong. Ryan Iverson 57 points in the first half. It's, well, anyhow, it was pretty good for a high school basketball team.
Yeah, you're right, John, there. And Armstrong with 44, like we talked about, generally that's going to be enough to give you a first half lead. Armstrong's got to do is figure out a way to get stops. And I know that's easier said than done. You got to slow this Champlin Park team down. You know, we saw the leading scores 12, 12, 11, but what you're not seeing is 8, 9, 9, 8. I mean, they got 5, 6 people that are capable of putting up 18 to 20 points per night. So you got to figure out how to slow this Champlin team down here in the second half, John.
57-44, Rebels lead the Falcons. We'll take a break, come back to the second half in just a moment.
You always made sure I brushed my teeth.
You told me that smart was cool.
You always told me to dream big.
To all of those parents who took the time to make raising their children their most important job, we'd like to say,
thank you.
Thank you.
From the bottom of my heart, thanks, Mom and Dad.
This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
57-44, the Rebels up on the Falcons. We get ready for the second half of play. Armstrong, those fans want something to cheer about here in the second half. Like you said, 44 points usually enough, but they've got to find a way to slow down and shut down Champlin Park, which I don't know if that's possible to overcome a 13-point deficit. Well, I guess we'll find out.
The tough part, too, John, is, you know, it was back and forth. It was about a 2-point game, 4-point game. And just like that, Champlin flips a switch. They get a couple turnovers, hit a couple threes, and it goes from 4 points to 13 points. And, you know, that's how quickly they can strike. And they're going to get the ball to start. Armstrong, you got to just chip away at it. If they can keep this close, 4 to 6 points, this Armstrong team is resilient. You know, they're 14-2 on the year, and they're undefeated at home. So they feel like they can win here at home. They just got to get it close, get a couple of stops, and keep pounding it inside to Casperson and Burns.
First basket of the second half. They didn't cool off at halftime, did they?
No, JT Gibson. And that's a tough shot. That's coming off of a high ball screen, guy in your face, one dribble, pull up, a 16-foot 2-point shot. So that's about as tough a bucket as it comes.
We credited him with the tip-in early in the game that actually went to Witt. It's Nolan starts the second half with a 3 for Armstrong, and he has 11 points now.
Yeah, Nolan's been good. I mean, offensively, Armstrong's been really good here tonight. They just got to figure out how to get stops on defense. And you can see what Champlin does too is they're patient. Look at the spacing too. I mean, they'll take their time. They'll get the matchup or the one-on-one matchup deficiency that they think they can get and exploit, and they take advantage of it then.
Witt, jump ball. Dixon got a hand on it. And the held ball goes to Armstrong, the alternate possession.
That was good D, good hands right there by Dixon as Brendan Witt exploded by Casperson. Looked like he was going to have an easy bucket there, but Dixon got his hands stuck in there and pulled the tie ball. Nice play.
We went into Burns, and getting back and getting the steal was Johnson. Now it's Gibson. Takes his man off the dribble, scores, and is fouled.
Wow, explosive move. JT Gibson, we just saw him hit a jumper there. He shows jumper just for a second, and Evan Nolan's got to respect that, and then he just blows by him. Great strength. I mean, this JT Gibson, I mean, he's a 6'3". He's only a junior. He weighs about 195 pounds. He's strong, quick, athletic, explosive. I mean, he's a real deal.
Casperson gets to Burns.
That gets the crowd back into it, John. We've had quite a few dunks here this evening. Burns has had a couple of them. Oh,
Casperson gets the defensive rebound here.
Let's see if Armstrong can push it. The three Champlin players back in D. Over to Burns, beautiful hands. That's the one part of his game he has really gotten better at is his hands. Sprints down, that's a tough pass to catch and go up with like that. And Sean Burns has had a career night here. He's got 18 early in the second half.
Margin is 11 points. Ian Smith, patient, finds Witt. Back out high, Johnson will hold. Champlin Park with a patient possession, probably one of their longer possessions of the game so far. Witt to Gibson. Tough shot around Nolan, couldn't get it to go. Dixon ahead to Tate, missed it, and Witt rebounds. Back comes Champlin Park the other way. Now they'll run. And Witt will take it himself and score.
See what I mean, John? They turn a potential layup on one end into a layup for themselves on the other end. And Armstrong, give him credit, coming right back to him, attacking. Watch this body control. Brendan Witt, you could see that Nolan looked like he was going to take a charge, and at the last second, Brendan Witt, 6'5", able to just turn and contort his body around him. And he's got those big hands, able to finger roll it in very nicely.
Fouls on Gibson, his first. I want to make Burns earn it at the free throw line. He would have an easy two, and it turns out well for the Rebels as Burns misses on the first free throw. First time he's been to the line tonight. Second one in and out. Witt rebounds. So the margin at 13. Witt holding out high, feeds it down low to Smith and taken away by Dixon. Dixon into the paint through the hands of Tate. Turnover Armstrong.
Oh, that's one of those Tate, you just gotta have your hands ready there. You know a guy's driving, you're gonna have a potential shot. You gotta get your feet set. You gotta play that play in your mind so that when it comes, you're ready to rock and roll. That time he, just for a split second, lack of concentration, ball goes out of bounds. And you know, those little plays like that, they're gonna add up in a game like this against a high scoring team like Champlin where you need every possession to count.
Here's Witt, back out three, Gibson. Back iron won't go, rebounded by Nolan. To the corner, Casperson, three won't go. Rebound by Smith.
How about Ian Smith, just a little point guard for Champlin, goes up over Burns on one end to get that board. Now that time Burns gets it right back and looks at him like, who is this little pesky fly? Get away from me.
Nolan, a long three. Rebound by Witt. Boy, Witt Always seems to be in the right position for rebounds, doesn't he?
He really does.
3-point try from Hill, rolls out. Smith rebounds through the hands of Witt, out of bounds.
For Champlin Park, lineup number 28.
You know, it seems like tonight, John, Armstrong's able, we're going to have a timeout on the floor.
30-second timeout for Armstrong.
Yeah, it seems like, you know, Armstrong, when they've been scoring the ball really well, they haven't been able to get stops on the other end. Here in the second half, they've been able to get some stops, but then aren't able to score on that. They need to do both at the same time, where they can get about a 3 or 4, you know, back and forth exchange where they get stops, maybe get 6 to 8 points, get this to about 4 or 5 points where, you know, Champlin's feeling a little bit of pressure. Because you got to remember, too, Champlin's not used to close games at all this year. They've only played in 3 of them that have been decided under by less than 10 points. And 2 of those were wins, Maple Grove and Osseo, and the one was a loss at Hopkins. So they're used to being up by 13, 15, 18, 20 points. I think the closer the game, the deeper into the ball game, the more uncomfortable Champlin Park is. So if you're Armstrong, you want to try to get this margin down to 4 or 5 or 6 and get some pressure on Champlin.
Nolan feeding it to Burns, and he's fouled.
Nice set play out of the timeout there, Greg Miller. That was a bam right into big Sean Burns down low, and excellent, really executed well.
Second team foul.
Well, that was on Jeremy Johnson. That's his 3rd. He's only played really in foul trouble tonight. He'll come out. JT Gibson back in.
Not a bad sub when you can send in another guy, 11.5 points per game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Just the depth on this team.
Burns through the hands of Newburn. Another turnover for Armstrong.
Yeah, and Sean Burns hasn't been playing, you know, he's been playing basketball for a couple of years. That's just a little touch pass. He's going to get the hang of that as he gets more and more experience.
Witt from the wing, pull up over Casperson and hits.
That's a great move. Hard 2 dribbles on the left baseline, stops on a dime, hits a nice little pull up with some arc on it over the outstretched 6'5" Casperson. A beautiful move.
Newburn can't get the shot to go. Gibson into the front court. Witt hands off to Ian Smith. Lebo's into the game, now gives it to Witt. Through the hands of Wright, turnover Champlin Park.
Well, uncharacteristic there, Brennan Witt. Usually very sure-handed, takes excellent care of the ball. Watch this move, 2 hard dribbles, 1 dribble. Some contact too, he pulls up. Good defense by Casperson, just better offense by Brennan Witt.
Casperson finds Nolan. Get a foul away from the basketball on Gibson, who's fighting for position with Burns for the ball. Second on Gibson.
Well, they list Sean Burns at 6'3", but he certainly looks like he plays a lot bigger than that. He looks like he's 6'4", 6'5". He's battling down low. He's lengthy too.
Armstrong needs some possessions and end in points, Ryan. They've had some empty possessions here early in the second half, and 12 minutes to go, they're down 15. Nolan can't get it to go. He's fouled by Hilly.
Mark Tucksher for Champlin. He's screaming for a charge on that pass, and it looked like he has a pretty valid point right there. Instead, Devin Nolan's going to go to the free throw line shooting 2.
Nolan tonight, 3 threes. Now 2 of 3 from the free throw line.
He's only a junior for this Falcons team. He'll be back next year as well. Getting some great experience this year. Him, Burns, only a junior. Melvin Newburn, only a sophomore. Casperson's a senior. He'll be gone. But you got Jerome Dixon, only a junior. So this Armstrong team, the majority of it's going to be back and better than ever next year.
Hilly, Burns right in his face. Out of Witt. Knocked away by the Falcons off Dixon.
Like we were talking about, John, I mean, Armstrong's done a better job defensively here in the second half. The pace is a little bit slower. Champlin's not getting, any bucket they want at any given time. They're playing better defense. They just haven't been able to put it together on the other end.
Witt turns, trying to score over Burns. Can't do it. Burns rebounds.
Great D by Burns. He held his ground, got his chest right into it there.
Spin by Burns, and he'll go to the basket for two. Free throw line, another foul on Champlin Park. This will be their 5th team foul of the second half.
I just love how active Burns is. I mean, this Sean Burns, even from watching him earlier in the year to now, his footwork, his confidence, his offensive ability, the different moves he has, he has his touch. Still got to knock some free throws down, but you can see, I mean, his potential is really sky high.
Marty Hill back in as Gibson just picked up his 3rd foul. Burns, there we go. Next on the 2nd free throw.
That's his 3rd personal. Champlin Park's 15 fouls.
Still, though, a 13-point game. Just over 11 to play. Hilly finds McKinley right. Thought about the 3. Lebo to Witt. Just above the block. Oh, he's going to dribble it out. Finds right. Hill to the basket. Roars around the rim and in. 10 points for Marty Hill.
Right on his season average. He's that 5th guy that averages in double figures, and that was a beautiful move.
Kick out pass, 3 for Alade. Won't drop. Hill rebounds.
You got a lot of rim on that one.
Lebo to Witt. Hilly short on the 3. Rebound to Alade. Dixon, nice pass to Burns.
I'll tell you, I like Armstrong when Dixon's in attack mode like that, but not necessarily for himself. When he's in attack mode and being unselfish there, looking for his teammates, he's really, really tough to stop.
Corner 3, missed by Wright. Witt gets the rebound and scores.
Yeah, that's just effort, hustle right there. The ball was on the floor right there, and Witt just beat everyone to it, and then to have the audacity there to catch it and then finish too. Beautiful move.
Right front court. Hilly, corner 3, tipped out. Right. Jumper is good.
McKinley Wright, freshman, 6 points per game. He's got 5 here already. And you felt the pace starting to really kind of pick up, and I think Coach Tuxer wanted that from his team. Even though they got a lead, he likes when they're pushing it and getting that tempo up, and you certainly felt that. That baseline shot right there. Wow, I mean, this is all effort right here. Ball's on the floor. You can see Witt just goes down and gets it, and then to go back and lean back like that and to finish, really a tough bucket. Nice job by Brendan Witt. And take a look at this. There's Coach Tuxer, and he's telling his guys, we keep this pace going. Yeah, we got 72. We're up by 17 right now, but let's push this thing. Let's get it going. Let's not be complacent. He's always building for the big picture, and I think their big picture this year, I talked to him earlier in the week, and he said he thought this team has what it takes to win a state championship. And that loss to Hopkins, John, earlier in the year, they lost by 3, gave them the confidence to say we can play with anybody on any given night.
Biggest lead of the night for Champlin Park, 17 points. Casperson scoring. First bucket of the second half for the big senior. He's got 13 points in the game.
Well, and again, anytime they've gotten it to Casperson or Burns down low, good things have happened.
Lebo's shot around the rim won't go. And their offensive rebound won't drop for Wright. And then Hilly commits a foul trying to steal the ball back from Newbern.
Champlin Park foul on number 20. Kinley Wright, that's his first personal. Champlin Park's 16 foul.
Yeah, they're going to whistle it on Wright.
Got caught with his hands in the cookie jar right there, John. Well, interesting here. Champlin's going at the 2-3 zone. maybe change things up out of Armstrong, see if they can get them out of rhythm. See how Armstrong combats that. If they're able to break this zone down, get in the seams.
Jumper from 10 won't drop for Alade. Partial block on Casperson's shot. As Champlin Park running the other way. Hill's pass deflected by Newbern out of bounds. Nice crowd on hand tonight, yeah. Ryan. Fought through the late afternoon storm and snow. And
well, we can't buy a break. You look outside, it's 33 degrees, but then it's snow and sleeting. And now I hear Monday's supposed to be the coldest day of the winter so far. So just when we think we're turning the corner, JJ, they bring us right back to reality.
One of these weeks. It is almost February. Look at it that way. Yeah. A good defense by Armstrong, forcing a turnover there. Past the midway point of the first half, the margin at halftime was 13 for Champlin Park. Now it's 15. Falcons need a run, Ryan. They need like a 6-0, 8-0 run, something to try to get them back into this game. Tate will try to start it. It's a 3.
Well, Trey Tate, just like his first name says, Trey knocks it down. He listened to you, JJ. He's doing his part to make a run, and that cuts it down to 12.
Gibson's 15-footer is good.
And that's
Hill.
That's been the story all night. Armstrong does something every time Champlin's had the answer on the offensive end. They just got so many weapons.
4 starters in double figures for Champlin Park. Not surprising. They've got 5 guys that are 10 or more a game. Nolan fights through some traffic, missed the shot, right rebounds. Outlet left side to Smith. Finds Marty Hill open in the corner. Catch and shoot 3.
I was just about to say, John, every time he does that, it looks like he's off balance, doesn't it? When he catches and goes into that shot. And that time, that's just part of his rhythm right there. That time, he caught it, went into rhythm, and knocked it down. Yeah, watch, Marty Hill's got kind of an interesting, he catches that, almost looks like he falls down, his whole body comes down, but that's just part of his catch and release. And, you know, different strokes for different folks, and it seems to work for Marty Hill.
Last foul on Lebo is the 7th team foul on Champlin Park.
For the Falcons, number 32, Sean Burns, and number 35, Jerome Dixon. Evan Nolan will be at the line for Armstrong. He'll shoot 1-1.
I think Nolan was the guy. Nolan's not the guy that had the ball, wasn't Alade the one that had the ball on that?
I think they're trying to get one over here. Might not put arguably their best free throw shooter on the line, and it worked. Smart move.
1 out of 2. Tie up for the rebound. Rebels thought it was an over the back on Alade, and jump ball and possession change. It'll go over to the Rebels. Hill will inbound.
Well, I like that Armstrong's doing this, picking up full court. I almost think they should have tried to do that all game long.
Hilly can't score it. Ball loose, and Lebo throws it back out. Now Ian Smith with a 3. He hasn't scored a lot tonight. He has just 5 points, but another solid game for the senior on the floor.
Yeah, but does a little bit of everything. 12.5, over 5 assists, over 4 rebounds. I like that move. Jerome Dixon, when he'll make a move every now and then, you'll watch and say, he's got to be the best player in the state of Minnesota. You know, it's for him, it's a matter of consistency and doing it in big moments. He'll have a drive like that, and then we won't hear from him for 5-6 possessions. He just got to do it consistently.
Hilly offensive rebound and scores.
Talking about the ball just bouncing the right way for Champlin. All the Armstrong guys went up for that rebound. No one tipped it, and Alex Hilly in the right place, able to tip it in for a layup, leads up to 19.
Nolan will drive, spins and scores. Foul by Lebo.
That's his 15th. And I mean, very good shooter, but he's also shown the ability to attack here tonight. And he's got good size, good strength. You know, he's 6'2½", almost 6'3". Strong there, nice move. He's got a really nice mixture of being a good jump shooter and also being able to score down low and take his guy off the bounce too. And he's got a bright future.
Free throw good for Nolan. Champlin Park back to its original starting 5. No, excuse me, Wright's in the game. Plus Johnson, Witt, Gibson, and Smith. So Hill out and McKinley Wright in.
I like this McKinley Wright too as a 9th grader. Seems to give them a lot of spark, plays with some energy and some toughness to him. And Ian Smith, just great balance right there, great patience. He recognized he could beat his guy off the dribble, no help, and he finger rolls it all the way on. Beautiful move.
There's Burns, too strong. Second try, up and in, and he's fouled.
I actually thought they were going to count that first basket. You can watch, you can hear someone slap the backboard there. Sometimes they'll count that automatically. Instead, you know, great effort. Sean Burns follows up his miss. And that's going to put him, he's got 23 points here tonight, John. He's been an absolute beast. 23, I'm sure he's got at least 8 to 10 rebounds as well. So he's very active, very effective too.
It's his season high. It had been 22. 23 tonight, missing on the free throw. Under 5 minutes to go. Champlin Park, a 16-point lead here. Down low to Witt from Smith, knocked away by Nolan. And we'll get a foul on Nolan.
Armstrong foul on number 21, Evan Nolan. That's his second personal foul. That's his second team.
This is second team foul on Armstrong in the half. Drive, kick out from Smith. They work it around. Now top to Jeremy Johnson.
How about that ball movement, JJ? 4 guys touch the ball there. Drive left, baseline pass, swing, swing, bucket.
Wright can't get it to go. Nolan back the other way. Burns has Dixon with them. Lost it out of bounds.
For the Falcons, number 33, Ryan Casperson returns to the line.
Yeah, watch this. I mean, again, 4 guys touch the ball. Swing pass, extra swing pass. It's funny how that, when you make that one extra pass, the guy seems to always knock it down. And Jeremy Johnson, who's had a nice game here tonight, 14 points. And smooth, you know, inside and out. That time knocks down a nice looking 3.
He replaces number 4, Judy Live.
Well, kipped guy Gibson went off an Armstrong player. Gets it to Wright. They work it back out to Gibson and Smith, and they'll reset. Ian Smith gets by Dixon to the corner to Wright.
So Champlin content, taking some time off the clock here.
Smith
nice.
scores.
Ian Smith.
6 players with at least 9 points tonight for the Rebels.
Well, we were just saying, he's been pretty quiet, and you look up, he's got 9. That's what this Champlin team does. I mean, they'll end up with, you know, anywhere from 4 to 7 guys, you know, between that 8 and 15-point range. So very, very deep, very, very balanced.
They'll hook in the lane. Casperson has 15 now. Backcourt pressure, but the Rebels able to beat it. Johnson from the corner. Wow. Assist to Witt.
Well, and the other thing you don't realize with this Champlin team, John, is they get good shots. I mean, every time it's a wide open look. It's a dribble, penetration kick, beautiful move. You got to finish that big fella. Good hustle. He's another monster move right there by Burns. But Champlin, I mean, they get layups. They get wide open threes. There's no contested shots. They really unselfish. Really offensively, they're a thing of beauty to watch. I mean, here we go. Skip, wide open 3. Offensive rebound. I mean, they're just textbook in how they play.
A pushing foul on Wright.
McKinley Wright, that's his second personal. Champlin Park's 10th team foul.
And back the other way will come. 10th team foul, meaning 2 shots for Armstrong. (91-72). Champlin Park is going to go to 12-0 in the conference. They got Centennial at home Tuesday and then at Osseo, Ryan Iverson, next Thursday, January 30th.
That'll be the big one right there. And it'll be a big one, but even if Champlin were to lose that, they'd still have only the 1 conference loss after winning this game here tonight. But you know, anytime you can win on the road in a tough conference, in a tough environment. This was a great fan. I mean, the fans came out, they were excited. This is a great atmosphere tonight. But that Osseo game next week will be big.
Offensive foul whistle on Johnson. It's his 4th.
Yeah, a little bit different. Champlin will be the top dog this year. We're used to having Osseo and Park Center and Maple Grove kind of being those top 3, and again Osseo up there in the top 3. But really, Champlin the team to beat, and arguably some of people's mind the favorite to go to the state championship game this year.
.210 to play. Nice pass to Casperson to Burns. Stripped away. Good play by Wright to knock the ball away from Burns.
One of the first things they teach you, big fella, you get that ball down low, you got to keep it high. Don't let those little guards, don't bring it down there where they can be pesky and swat it away. Keep that ball up high. And he's done a pretty good job of it for the most part. 25 points, his season high.
Casperson on the block. Scores it inside. He's got 19 now, but it's going to be not enough for Armstrong.
Him and Burns, they combined for 44 points, over half of this Armstrong offense. They've been very effective, very efficient too. They've done that. They, shot a very high percentage. The story of this game, John, they just couldn't get stops. They couldn't slow this Champlin offense down. And Champlin's got 91. You feel like if they put the gas on, they could have about 120 by now if they wanted to.
Drive and a foul on Armstrong.
Armstrong foul on number 32, Sean Burns. That's his 2nd.
It'll be on Burns. 13 foul on, or 3rd personal foul on Burns. And just the 3rd team foul on Armstrong in the half. Gibson, baseline drive, and he's fouled. He'll go to line for 2.
Armstrong foul on number 23. That's his 1st personal foul. His 14th foul.
JT Gibson tonight, 12 points in the first half, 5 more here in the second. Rebels haven't gotten a lot to the line, Ryan. They're 92 points, now 93, just 5 have come on free throws.
Well, and the reason is they get such open shots. They're almost hard to foul because their spacing is so good. They got guys that can break someone off the dribble and they find the open shooter, and they're either getting wide open layups or they're getting dunks like this here in transition.
Smith lays it in off the feed from Gibson.
Oh, he's going to be that 5th player in double figures.
Dixon, a quiet game for him tonight, Ryan, just 4 points.
Yep.
Another steal for Champlin Park. Witt to Smith. Didn't get this one. Witt gets the offensive board to Smith. And they won't shoot it. Normal possession, that ball would have been up.
Yep. 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
No, they're as complete as any team I've seen, John, on the boys' side of things. As far as their guard play, the multiple scores that they have, the balance, the athleticism, and the way they score in transition, really impressive. And they're really well coached. But, give this Armstrong team, too, a lot of credit. Heck of a year. 10-2, they're going to fall in conference play. 14-3 overall. That's still a pretty impressive year, and still a lot of basketball left to be played.
They'll dribble out the clock, and Champlin Park, an impressive win on the road. They score 57 in the first half, 95 for the game, and they win it over a good Armstrong team, 95-76.
Yeah, fun game to watch, huh? I mean, if you haven't seen Champlin play before, they are a treat to watch. And Armstrong matched, basket for basket with them until about midway through that first half. And Champlin went on about an 8-0 run and moved it from 4 points to 12, 13 points, and really never looked back after that time.
We'll take a break, come back with our post game, our final score again. Champlin Park 95, Armstrong 76. We'll wrap things up from Armstrong High School after this timeout.
Oh, hey, bud. Where are you headed?
Just gonna hang out.
With Gary and Todd?
Yeah.
I've been meaning to ask you, is there any drinking going on in this crowd?
No.
If any of your buddies ever pressure you to take a drink, just tell them you promised your dad you wouldn't. I'd do anything to keep you safe.
Okay, I will.
I hope this is working.
I promise. Love you too, Dad.
They really do hear you. For tips on what to say, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Champlin Park remains unbeaten. They are now 12-0 in the Northwest Suburban Conference. Welcome back to Armstrong High School. John Jacobson joined by Marty Hill and Jeremy Johnson. Jeremy, like all of your games, it's seemingly you guys share the ball well, 5 guys scoring in double figures. Talk about the win here tonight.
Oh, well, we just tried to move the ball around really well and get guys open shots, and we were hitting them today. And we just want to work harder in practice so we can hit more shots. That first half offensively, is that as good a half as you've had all year, 57 points? That's probably about one of them. It's got to be up there, yeah. You knew Armstrong was good, although you had defeated them the first time. What was the game plan against them coming in and to try to beat them a second time? Well, we knew they had scores. I mean, they've beaten some of the top teams in the state, so we knew it wasn't just going to be a blowover. So we had to come out, work hard, stop their key players like Sean, and, I mean, just hustle real hard and get the W. They have some good players inside. Is that tough to go against? They got players like Casperson and Burns? Yeah. Coach had me guarding Burns, and he's got a little, 3-inch height difference on me, but I worked hard, and we luckily, we held him kind of. I mean, he had 20-some maybe, but we did a good job on him for the most part. Tell me about next week now. Centennial on Tuesday and then Osseo on Thursday night. Oh, yeah, those are a couple more good teams in our conference. They're winning the upper half of the conference, but we're going to have the same game plan, just go right at them from the get-go and work hard and get the win. Congratulations on this one. Thank you. All right, Marty Hill, another good game for you offensively. And tell me about tonight, scoring the ball for you. What was working in your game?
Well, my jumper wasn't falling at first, but you always just got to keep shooting. And I just tried to slash the bucket, get easy buckets first, and then shots started to fall. How about your defense? I know we've talked to you guys. I talked specifically to Ian Smith earlier in this week, and even though you hung with Hopkins early in that game, he gave up 106 points, and he said since then you guys have talked about defense and trying to shut teams down and getting better defensively. Have you seen that pay off in the last month and a half? Oh, yes, sir. We try to focus on getting our teams that we play to at least 60 points. That's our goal. Our team goals are set really high, and we try to play our best defense we can, and that's what we try to do tonight. How much does the defense help on the offensive end then? The turnovers going into transition, we had a lot of transition buckets, which helped us get our offensive game going, and that got us going, I think. I know you can't look past Centennial, but next Thursday you've got Osseo. You had a tough game with them, won it at your place a few weeks ago. What do you expect from them next time? Well, I mean, it's going to be a tough game. Osseo is a very good team. We just look to go at them like we did last time and, win the statement game. That's what we call it, statement. Win statement games. Enjoy this one. Good luck next week. Thank you, sir. All right, thanks very much to Marty Hill and Jeremy Johnson. Two of the big reasons Champlin Park comes out winners tonight. Their 16th win in a row. They're now 17-1 on the season, 12-0 in the conference as they defeat Armstrong here by a final score of 95-76. That'll do it for our telecast tonight at Armstrong High School. For Ryan Iverson and all of our crew, thanks for tuning in.